Well, the Clippers almost made me look stupid, so Trae Young took care of it for him. Yeah, I did call some things right though in the first round, and my championship picks are still alive. But one thing we all learned is a new generation of NBA stars are taking over. Let's not waste any time and get into where I was right, where I was wrong in round 1 before round 2 predictions. Yo, it's Casey, this is AM Hoops. Hit subscribe for videos Monday through Friday dropping at 5 Eastern. You will be entertained all week long, guaranteed. Let's start in the East. I said the Sixers would beat the Wizards in 5. That is what happened. Let's be honest about Russell Westbrook. He puts up amazing stats, especially in the regular season, but Sixers fans felt real comfortable with the ball in his hand in big moments. He makes poor decisions. He's turnover prone. He averaged over 4 a game, third most of any player in the playoffs. Joel Embiid tore his meniscus. So Philly leaned on Tobias Harris and Seth Curry to beat DC, but they need their MVP to be healthy. Next was the Knicks winning in 7 games over the Hawks. It was the Hawks in 5. Trae Young was really impressive from game 1. Even when he wasn't hitting threes, he controlled the game. He hit a game winner at a packed MSG in his playoff debut. This was really impressive. Trae is a total NBA villain though, with his taunting and shushing the crowd. I called Trae the most overrated star in the game. Now I still have doubts about him leading Atlanta to a deep playoff run, but the front office did help a lot, getting Bogdan Bogdanovic, Clint Capella, and others. Trae has improved a ton from year 1 to year 3 and proved he can play winning basketball. The concern I have is opponents have not exposed him on defense yet in the postseason. The Sixers didn't in game 1. They have to make that adjustment, and if they don't, the Nets will dominate him. For the Knicks, Julius Randle cost himself a ton of money in that series. He is clearly not a number 1 or 2 on a championship team. But next, I said the Bucks would beat the Heat. I said 6, but it was a sweep. The Heat were so overhyped from the bubble. The Bucks are ready for this. The additions of Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, and others, plus adjustments from Coach Bud, are real. Everyone was disappointing for Miami, but especially Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Goran Dragic. There will be major changes this summer, but my pick of Milwaukee winning the East is still alive. Next, I called the Nets over the Celtics in 6, but it was 5. This was the easiest series to call. KD, Kyrie, and the Beard averaged over 85 points against Boston, the highest scoring series for a trio in NBA history. They were good, but I'm still not sold. Of course, they were going to walk over Boston. The real test is against Milwaukee. Now, I know they won game 1, but adjustments will be made to the Bucks. We'll get to my official round 2 predictions next. First, the West. I said the Jazz would beat the Grizzlies in 5. That is what happened. The Jazz just had a lot more talent. It was like Atlanta against New York. But the one thing that Memphis knows is Ja Morant is a playoff performer. Dude averaged an efficient 30 points and 8 assists. His defense and shooting needs work, but this is a great sign after year 2. I confidently predicted the Clippers would beat the Mavericks. Instead of 5, it took 7. Barely got this one right. I thought it would be easy because Dallas has no real number 2, but that is how good Luka Doncic is. He basically drugged him to a Game 7 by himself. Tim Hardaway Jr. was their second best option. They still won 3 games. Kristaps Porzingis is officially in panic mode, but that's an entire video to itself. The Clippers almost blew it, but Kawhi Leonard would not let that happen. It's obvious Luka needs more help, especially after Kristaps Porzingis threw him and Rick Carlisle under the bus. ESPN reported KP is, quote, frustrated, often feeling more like an afterthought than a co-star as Doncic dominates the ball and the spotlight. That's not good. But for now, I stand by my pick for the Clippers to win the title. Next, I said the Nuggets would beat the Blazers in 6. That is what happened. Nikola Jokic backed up his MVP. Dude beat a healthy Blazers. His best teammate was Michael Porter Jr. Now, MPJ is good, but he is young. Jokic is so good, he can be the best player on a championship team. Who saw Austin Rivers making that big of a contribution? The Bucks just let him go for nothing, which looks dumb. The Blazers will have a new coach, probably Chauncey Billups, and they need to trade CJ McCollum for a star because Damian Lillard is frustrated. Their offseason video comes up this week. I called the Lakers over the Suns in 5, and I was dead wrong. I don't feel too bad about this because of injuries. LA was up 2-1 before AD went down. The Lakers would have won this series if 100% healthy. Now that's a big if, because it was my number one concern for LA before the playoffs. I was so impressed though with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I thought their inexperience would hurt, but it was the opposite. Booker showed he's their best player, not Chris Paul. He averaged 30 points on 43% from deep. Ayton was the best big man on the floor, even when AD and LeBron were healthy. This team is legit and ready. Speaking of which, round 2 predictions. Now we've got a lot more info on these teams, and I predict one guy in the new generation does get an upset. My first prediction though is the Clippers over the Jazz in 6. Kawhi's team was real scared in round 1. They got rolling though, and they are ready to dominate. Defense will turn into offense with LA capitalizing off turnovers. The big two are surrounded by shooters, and because Utah shoots well on the perimeter, this is a good matchup for the Clips wing defense. The only problem? Rudy Gobert against Ivica Zubac. Tyler will probably play Zoo, but he'll get hunted on switches. If they go small, then Rondo or Pat Bev would get exposed. Still, my championship pick rolls on. Next, the Suns beat the Nuggets in 7. Nikola Jokic can be the best player on the court, but as long as Denver's role players don't pop off, Phoenix wins. Austin Rivers and Monte Morris won't have back-to-back hot series. If they do, the Suns respond with Cam Payne and Cam Johnson. I feel good about DeAndre Ayton on Jokic if he keeps up that energy. A lot depends on the big man because you know Book will bring it. It's a close call, but the young crew upsets. In the East, the Sixers beat the Hawks in 6, even though Atlanta won Game 1. They will never shoot as well as they did in the first half in Philly. The Sixers' bright spot was Joel Embiid staying healthy through that game and that comeback after halftime. From here on, Philly's got a chip on their shoulder, and Doc's adjustment should be starting Matisse Thybulle over Danny Green to shadow Trae Young. Finally, the Bucks in 7. This is really bold after Brooklyn won without James Harden, but it can all change in one night. The Bucks will not shoot that bad, 6 for 30 from deep. Coach Bud is known for not adjusting, but he's a smart guy. He knows he's playing for his job. I think offensively and defensively, the Bucks will rebound. But this video is a response to the Lakers losing and why LeBron should actually be happy and his legacy will be helped that LA lost.